gasp, shocking, I know, but people in here who are old enough know that that's the kind of thing that really happened. But especially in Japan, because maybe in the US in 1974, women weren't quite as much, leaving their jobs just because they got married. But in Japan in 1974, you needed to go home and cook and clean and make little Japanese babies. So that was her new job. Anyway, don't really know whatever happened to her after that, but that is the story of how she came to be. Obviously, they had no idea back in 1974 that Hello Kitty was going to catch on to such an extent and to be so popular all these many years later. One of the fascinating things to me about Hello Kitty is that unlike his heroes, like Charles Schulz, who he did get to meet, and Walt Disney, who sadly he never did get to meet, obviously these were franchises that were created first. So first you had Peanuts comic strips, or you had, Mickey Mouse cartoons and what have you, and then later you had merchandising. So first came, the stories, the cartoons, whatever, and then you had merchandising based on that. And he really did this the opposite way. His idea was coming up with these characters for the express purpose of merchandising them. And then there weren't any cartoons or movies or anything for many, many years after that. So, in fact, I meet people all the time who don't even know that there have actually been Hello Kitty cartoons, and there in fact have been several of them now. But I would like to add that if you guys have questions at any time, you can go ahead and ask me, but I really could talk about Hello Kitty nonstop for 2 or 3 hours. I'm just warning you right now, and I'm only supposed to do this for 50 minutes. Anyway, but there is a lady whose name, I always remember Yuko Shimizu, since she is the mother, the creator, Yuko Yamaguchi. Since 1980, Yuko Yamaguchi has been like the mother, the overseer of Hello Kitty and guiding her along the path. Like I said, 1975 was the first year that the Hello Kitty merchandise came out in Japan. 1976 is when that merchandise first came over here. And so something to look for, any legitimate Hello Kitty merchandise that you get, like this pen from Target. I'm sure you all know, anybody who's in this panel, that you can get lots of awesome $1 Hello Kitty merchandise at Target, which is very cool. So on your legitimate Hello Kitty merchandise, there's going to be a copyright thing that says the first number will be 76, which is 1976, because that's the international copyright date. And then there will be a second number, which is the day, which is the year that the product came out. Ooh, I'll get you in just 1 second. So this pen was manufactured in 2008. It writes in purple, and it's very good. Yeah, what was your question? Oh, how many characters are there? That is an excellent question. I don't know the exact number, but I know that it's around 500, or maybe even a little bit higher than 500. It's a lot of characters that have been created by Sanrio over the years, and that is an excellent question. And there, in this book that I read a few years ago, they said that at that point the number was a little over 450, but that book's about 8 years old, so I'm going to say it's probably around 500 by now. But at that time, out of the 450 plus characters that had been created, more than 50% of the sales, more than 50% were attributed to one character, Hello Kitty. Seriously, Hello Kitty, like 52% of the sales. These other 450 characters, like 48%. I mean, that is incredible. That is an amazing figure. A lot of characters, they kind of come and go. They'll introduce a new character, see if it takes off, and a lot of them don't. They just kind of come and go, and they don't really stand up. They don't go anywhere. And some of them. Yeah, they just fade into oblivion. They kind of go away. If you go to the you can go to the Japanese Sanrio website, sanrio.co.jp, and then I don't know. There's a thing on there you can see where to click on it to read it in English. They have an English page. It doesn't have all, but it has a lot of the characters on there, and you'll see so many characters in there that you've never heard of. And because a lot of them are maybe from the early 70s, or they just had one small product line. And also some of the ones that are popular in Japan, like Mino no Tabo. He's this little boy who walks around like this all the time. Is actually a person. It's not an animal, but I mean, nobody knows who Mino no Tabo is over here. Anyway, he's kind of creepy, actually. But yeah, but there's a lot of them. I mean, some of them do catch on, like Keropi, Pachaco, Bad Bad Smaru, Choco Cat. There's a lot of those that are very popular. But there's just none of them really that rival the popularity of Hello Kitty. Some of the ones that were around back at that same time when Hello Kitty was created are still around, like My Melody, Little Twin Stars, Patty and Jimmy a little bit. See, I remember Patty and Jimmy from when I was a little kid. Funny thing about Patty and Jimmy and Little Twin Stars, if you guys know those characters at all, the woman, I do not remember her name at all, but the woman who designed those characters refused to draw animals. So if you see these characters and they're little people, probably she drew them because she did not like to draw animals for some reason. I don't know. Just a little piece of trivia for you there. So 1976, when Hello Kitty products were first sold over here, the main places you could get them were the Hallmark store. So I think that probably goes back to that partnership that he had with Hallmark, even though it was kind of a failed, the greeting card thing was kind of a failed venture in Japan at the time. And then Toys R Us. And they were very popular right away. So right away, it caught on. People buying like little stationery sets, purses, things like that. And they were fairly small and inexpensive items to start off with. And the idea was that these were affordable and usually useful products, like things that kids could buy with their allowance. So if they were going to get a lunchbox or a pencil or pen or notepad or something like that, these were useful items that they needed. Also, Japan has a big gift-giving culture, and so there are all these little gift-giving occasions, and they would provide these products. These were things that kids could buy their friends for these gift-giving occasions. They were cute little things that they could buy with their allowance because they were affordable. Anyway, so the popularity through the mid to late 70s, early 80s in the U.S. and in Japan, Hello Kitty was very much on an upward trajectory. It was doing very well. The products had really caught on. Everyone liked them. And then come around the mid 1980s, there was just this kind of drop off. And my observation and my study, I think that it's really just a matter of they were still kind of catering to this younger audience, and there was the aspect of the people who were fans of Hello Kitty who had started buying that stuff in 1976. You come to a point about 8-9 years later, well, now these people are grown, they're going to college, and the products are all still geared at young kids. And so they've lost interest, and they don't need a Hello Kitty lunchbox or Hello Kitty coin purse or whatever anymore. So it really kind of dropped off. For a while there, it was kind of hard to find Hello Kitty, at least in the U.S. It was always around in Japan, but they even had this same kind of effect where it went up and then it went down. And then around the mid-90s, an interesting thing happened is that it started kind of creeping back into the consciousness. And oh my gosh, on your glasses, that is so cool. The bow, she's got the red bow on her glasses. I love that. Anyway, so Hello Kitty starts like making a comeback, kind of like creeping back in, and I start noticing it. Oh, there's Hello Kitty. I had that when I was a kid. That's awesome. But one of the things that they really started focusing on was widening their casting a wider net, if you will. So it wasn't just small, inexpensive items that you could buy with your allowance. It was everything. It was televisions, radios, motor scooters, all this stuff. And then they just started expanding into, like you say, microwaves, kitchen appliances, everything. I mean, so it started creeping back in. And my belief, my personal belief, there's no way to really document this, but I think nostalgia, because I think these people